Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. In the first SmackDown, in the first SmackDown 2025, in the first 3 hour version of SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton is the new women's champion after cashing in on Nia Jax. Finally, finally. SmackDown was actually still on as we speak, but I just had to post this because this was huge. I mean, for so many months now, going as far back to July of last year, I believe it was on July the 6th when Tiffany Stratton won the Money in the Bank briefcase. And for months and months and months, she's been teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. In fact, I think she's been teasing it even more than Damian Priest was when he was holding the briefcase. And finally, she pulled the trigger. My goodness, I mean, the way that this was executed was just spot on. I mean, it was just spot on how she executed this. She came out, her music played. First of all, Nia had a really good match with Naomi. Like Naomi, multiple near falls in the match. You know, Naomi looked like she was gonna get the upper hand. For the bulk of the match, there was no interference up until she put Nia in a submission, and that's when Candice LeRae tried to get involved and keep Nia from submitting. But at that point, that's when Bianca took her out, and then it came to a point where Nia looked like she was going to try to go for a Samoa drop from the top rope on Naomi, but Naomi countered it with a sick counter, and they were both down. And Tiffany music hit. Now, granted, you know, throughout this match, I mean, Naomi was going for everything. She went for a Samoa drop of her own, which looked really cool. She hit her with a crucifix pin that Nia kicked out of. She hit her with her split leg and moonsault that Nia kicked out of. So she was giving Nia everything. And Tiffany music hits, and man, I mean, the crowd exploded. First, she looked like she wasn't going to cash in. First, she clocked the referee after she looked like she was about to cash in. And then she clocked Naomi and helped Nia to hit the Annihilator to retain her title. And I was like, what? Well, this is pointless. Why would she come out here if she's not, she's not actually going to cash it in? Why would she do that? Why would she, set as a rule? But it was perfect because it was a plot. She made it look like she was helping Nia, which she did help Nia to retain, but then she clocked Nia with the briefcase, and then she also clocked Candice with the briefcase, because Candice for several months now has been trying to, get on the good graces of Nia, and, Tiffany has felt kind of left out. And granted, the crowd's been chanting Tiffany as a babyface, even though she's been a heel. She's been getting babyface cheers really ever since she's come to the main roster. She's been getting babyface cheers, but especially like with her being with Nia, it's kind of like the sidekick. She's been getting it even more. And it was only a matter of time before she was going to cash in. I was like, if there's a good time to cash in, it would be this first SmackDown of the year, the first 3 hour SmackDown. Excellent way that they did this. I mean, I thought it was unique because most of the women's cash-ins have either been on the same night and or they've always been with the person being down. But the way that Tiffany did it, she actually helped Nia win the match and then took her out with the briefcase and then cashed in, hit the prettiest moonsault ever to win her first women's championship on championship women's world championship on the main roster on SmackDown. I mean, this was huge. And it was actually Michael Cole who said this is the first time on SmackDown in about 6 years this has happened. The last time that I can remember a cash in, for the women taking place on SmackDown, you have to go all the way back to 2018. I believe that was the last time the SmackDown after WrestleMania 34 when Carmella, who was actually the first Miss Money in the Bank, she cashed in against Charlotte Flair. That's the last time I can remember it happening on SmackDown because, the next 2 years when Alexa cashed in on Nia Jax, because by the way, this is the second time Nia got cashed in on, as I was just thinking about that. Charlotte has been cashed in on 3 times. And Nia, this is the second time she got cashed in on because Alexa Bliss cashed in on her back in 2018 at Money in the Bank on the same night that she won the Money in the Bank. She cashed it in on Nia Jax. She was the first one to cash in on the same night she won it. And then Bailey went and did the following year to Charlotte Flair. And then in 2020, that's when Asuka actually fought for the Raw Women's Championship at the time, and she didn't know it because Becky actually put that on the line when she won the Money in the Bank, so she ended up just winning the title. So she didn't have to cash on anybody. And then when Nikki Cross was doing her superhero gimmick as Nikki Ash, she cashed in on Charlotte Flair in 2021 on July 19th on that episode of Raw. So I mean, most of the cash-ins have been similar, like the person get taken down. All those times Charlotte got cash in on, whether it was the first time when Carmella cashed in on her, she got taken out by the Iconics beforehand, whether it was when she got cashed in on by Bailey, Bailey had took her down, then she cashed in on her, or whether it was when Nikki cashed in on her in 2021, she got taken out by Rhea Ripley. So most of the cash-ins have been pretty similar for the women. But this one was unique because, she actually helped Nia retain and then cashed in on her. When she could have easily just turned it to a triple threat, kind of like what Seth Rollins did at WrestleMania 31, but instead, she actually helped her, made it look like she was still on her side. Now, granted, it was just last week that she was like, I want to be champion, when she was going to try to cash in on her then. And, they've teased this so much, whether it was this last SmackDown, when they fought for the, women's tag belts, whether it was at Survivor Series, at War Games, she teased the cash in. I mean, she's teased the cash in so many times that it's just kind of like, if you're gonna do it, just do it already. And I don't think it's like Damien's situation where, they waited to WrestleMania last year, WrestleMania 40, to make it happen. This was different because Damien, they teased his cash in a lot too, but they didn't tease it every single week. Like it got to a point where it felt like, Tiffany was gonna, like they were teasing it every week, and there was also a belief that perhaps, she would cash in. Perhaps she would cash in on Charlotte Flair if Charlotte Flair came back, but that was not to be. And this was a good time to do it because she did not advance in the tournament for the Women's United States Championship. She actually lost her match to Meacham, and that's how she ended up. She lost in the semifinals, and that's how Meacham made it to the finals against Chelsea Green, because Chelsea Green ended up beating Bailey to go to the finals. And you figure if you were going to give her a mid card championship, you might as well just give her a world title. I mean, after all, she is a former NXT Women's Champion, and although she didn't hold the title for that long, she actually, that's when she first really made her mark, particularly in her matches with Becky. That's when she really started to get over with the fans. And so I'm like, if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it. And the crowd's already been behind her, since the beginning, even as a heel. Does this now make her a tweener? I don't know if this 100% makes her a face. If you ask Bianca, since she was beaten up by her when Bianca hit the KOD on Nia Jax, and then she took Bianca out too, she probably would say something different. Or Naomi would say something different. But hey, she won the title, and I think it was the right call. Did anyone really want to see? And Nia, to her credit, has improved since she's come back to an extent. But did anyone really want to see Nia Jax hold on the belt to WrestleMania? Absolutely not. So this was just, perfect for Tiffany, to finally get her moment. The only question is now, how long is she going to hold on to the title? She's just going to be a placeholder champion. They're going to give her a lengthy reign with the title. That's what I'm interested in now, is kind of the story with that. But this was a huge moment, the best moment of SmackDown, this whole entire SmackDown for me. I mean, because you've had some DIY against Motor City Machine Gun, which was a really good match for the tag titles, but unfortunately it ended in lame DQ with Pretty Deadly getting involved, and the Los Lotharios, or the guys with Santos Escobar, they got involved because apparently they are upset with Pretty Deadly for lying and saying that they were the ones who attacked the Street Profits when in fact it was DIY who did the attack. So you had that whole thing going on, but the match itself was really good. It just ended in a lane DQ. So I figure if you're gonna have two title matches on the show, you got to have something big take place, and this was the way to do it. You know, if you were gonna have a DQ, which I didn't think DIY was gonna lose the belt anyway, but if you're gonna do that, you got to have something big. And then you had that thing with Paul Heyman. The Bloodline stuff was pretty good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was what it was with that. With Paul Heyman, what he was saying with Solo, so you could feel the intensity there. They're definitely hyping up his match with Roman on Raw for the tribal combat match. They're definitely hyping it up real big. Should be interesting to see if The Rock shows up. You had the thing with Drew McIntyre and Cody that actually opened the show, which was a pretty good angle. So you did have some really good stuff on the show, but overall, I mean, this was really what I want to focus on. Even Shinsuke had a decent match with Andrade. That he cheated to win, but well, I'm not gonna say he cheated, but he had a good match with Andrade, and so he definitely had some good moments in the show. But this by far was oh yeah, and the LA Knights apparently getting his rematch with Shinsuke for the title next week. So he had some good moments on the show, but this was the moment I really wanted to focus on because I think at this point this might make Tiffany one of the third longest person to hold on to the briefcase. I would say she's the longest, but you got to keep in mind that Carmella, when she won it in 2017, she ended up winning it twice. The first time, they didn't count it because James Ellsworth helped her win it, and then she won it again on SmackDown. She pretty much held that for almost a year because when she cashed in after WrestleMania 34, that was in April, so it was like pushing almost 10 months. And uh, for Tiffany, she's like the second one to hold on to the briefcase for a long period of time. Because Io, when she cashed in 2023, after Bianca won the title from Asuka and Charlotte at Triple Threat at SummerSlam, she only held it the briefcase for a month. So she's like the second longest, woman to hold on to the briefcase. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about that because it was a really great moment. A great way to start off SmackDown, this 3-hour, edition that they have now. Really happy for Tiffany Stratton. Look forward to see, where she kind of goes from here. So sign over there. That's the Flex, right? Comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys another. Peace.